It was never about the diet. It was always about me because I had tried everything. I'd done Weight Watchers multiple times, LA weight loss, Fen, South Beach diet, low carb, Atkins, like you name it, the fat burners, I did it. Isogenics, Herbalife, Hydroxycut. Yes, I used to go to the drugstore and get my Hydroxycut, and then everything falls apart. We're either all in or all out. And that's simply because we haven't upgraded our identity to think differently. Ask yourself the question, how do you want to feel in 90 minutes? How do you want to feel after eating this food, right? How do you want to feel at the end of the day?
Hey everyone, I am so excited for you to be back. Here is where we explore how high achievers build a life of real impact without the burnout that so often comes with it. My guest today is someone who is super inspiring, super impactful. She is tackling one of the most common yet often unspoken side effects of a high performance life. We are talking with Jennifer Dent Brown. She is a health and life coach for women and the leader of Stop Dieting Forever. It is a movement to help successful women stop dieting forever by moving away from quick fixes and instead focusing on identity-based weight loss. Jennifer helps women lose up to 10 pounds every 30 days by upgrading their standards, their food, and their identity. She teaches women how to stop following diet rules that just don't work and start building habits that actually fit their lives. When you work with Jennifer, you leave behind the guilt, the confusion, and the cycle of always starting over. You gain energy, you gain confidence, and a way of eating that feels easy to follow. Isn't that what we all want? Well, Jennifer's going to show you today how you can do that with her Stop Dieting Forever movement. And if you want, you can join her free anti-diet email club at jenniferdent.com/email club. So let's get into it. I am super excited to have you here.
Let's talk about all the things. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Talk about the things. I know when we were doing our pre-call,
Mm-hmm.
You said the anti-diet movement. I'm like, okay, tell me more. So tell us more about you. How did you get into this? What's your story?
Well, real simply, I was fat. I had a weight issue. And it was just one of those things where I could not lose weight. You know, I grew up in the 80s and 90s where like fat free was the rage, and the smaller you were, the better you were. And so society and culture just really ingrained in my head that I needed to be a certain size and I needed to eat these certain like bird foods in order to lose weight. So I was always on a diet, always on a diet. I could lose weight like nobody's business because I'm a little bit of a perfectionist. So I could follow a plan very well, lose the weight, but I would always gain it back. Like without a doubt, I would always gain it back. And this was a cycle that I was in literally for decades, like all through my 20s into my 30s. And when I was in corporate America, I was a management consultant. So I was traveling like 90% of the time. So I was eating airport food, living in hotels, living out of a suitcase, living the management consultant lifestyle when it was like fun. And at the same time, I'm like eating Jenny Craig powdered soup at my desk because I'm like, oh my God, I ate too much food last night. I need to like cut back. And then I would be a maniac in the gym on the weekends trying to like burn off what I ate during the week. So it was just a really, really nasty cycle that I was in. So eventually one day I was looking for my latest diet, looking for something new. And I stumbled across this woman's website, and she was a health coach. And I had no idea what a health coach was. I didn't know anything about the coaching industry. And she was like, if you've tried everything, you haven't tried this. And I was like, look, lady, I have tried everything, but I'm willing to give you $1,400 on my credit card to see what you got. Because I had tried everything. I'd done Weight Watchers multiple times, LA weight loss. I'd done Fen. I'd done South Beach diet, low carb, Atkins, like you name it, the fat burners, I did it. Isogenics, Herbalife, all the things. Hydroxycut, yes. I used to go to the drugstore and get my Hydroxycut with Anna Nicole Smith on the front.
Yeah, that's a big one. I remember that one.
Yeah, so I did it all. And when I worked with this woman, it was a group program. And that was the first time I really learned about like lifestyle and how you're thinking and how that affects what you're eating. And the program was great. I was like, this is amazing. I need to learn more because personal development student that I am, I looked her up and I was like, oh, she went to health coaching school. I'm going to go to health coaching school. So I enrolled in the Institute of Integrative Nutrition and became a health coach. But I was doing it for myself. But half of the curriculum is like teaching you how to coach other people. And so that's when I started to fall in love with helping people and coaching, the thought of coaching. And then I just became a student of it. So I lost 30 pounds in like 6 months just by changing my lifestyle, understanding more about what I was putting into my body. And people were like, what are you doing? You look so small. And I was like, oh, right, I'm a coach. But I was still consulting, right? I was still a management consultant. That was my identity. So it was like kind of this thing on the side of like, yeah, I can help you lose some weight. Like, yeah, we'll do this like conference call once a week and I'll help you with some things. And that was 11 years ago. Oh, no.
Wow.
Yes. Like 11 years ago. That was 2014. So I've been doing this for a little while. And then in 2020, I got certified as a life coach as well. And then became a full-time coach because the pandemic pushed me out of the corporate nest, which was okay because I was trying to leave on my own, but the money was really good and I liked who I was working with. And they kept saying like, Jennifer, why don't you stay for another project? And the pandemic hit, they had to let me go. And I was like, all right, well, I guess we're doing this coaching thing full-time. And I haven't looked back since. That was 6 years ago.
I love that. You said a couple of things that I want to ask a little bit more about. As a coach, we know the hardest part for people often to do is make that initial investment.
Yeah.
And it's always a matter of, what's going to stop you. The only thing that ever stops people is the investment. Right. So you had said to this lady, whether you said it in your head or to her, whatever, but you had said, I've tried everything. Fine. I mean, let me try one last effort. And it happened to be the effort that you needed to make. So can you walk through kind of your thought process when you decided, hey, I'm going to invest money, even though I've tried this before? What was it that made you say, yes, now I'm going to?
That's such a good question. I think at that point in time, I just really had tried everything. I felt like I had hit rock bottom because at that point, I was 20 years practically into yo-yo dieting and like being on and off diets. And this was something new. This was something different. She had really great branding and great marketing. And at that time, I remember it was like the last day of vacation. I was in South Florida. And of course, I had eaten all the things on vacation and I drank my way through vacation. So this is what I would do. Like I would get real skinny for vacation before, and then I would eat all the things on vacation. On the way back, I'd bring my sweatpants and wear my stretchy pants on the way home and figure out, okay, what are we going to start eating tomorrow? Like, we got to like create a meal plan and it has to be super restrictive and get back on track. And so this was the last day of vacation. I was probably feeling super bloated, a little hungover, a little bit tired. And it was just the right moment at that time. And I have to be honest with you, I was at that point, I knew there had to be a solution to my problem because I saw other women who did not have a weight problem. I saw them out to eat and they were like eating burgers and fries and they didn't have a problem. And I'm sitting here picking on my salad. Like, what are they doing that I'm not doing? So I knew that there was a solution to the problem. I just didn't know what it was. And my mindset at that time was like, I just need to keep trying all of these different diets until I find the one that works. Kind of like when you're looking for your partner or your soulmate, you're like, you just got to kiss a lot of frogs until you find your prince or your princess.
Yeah.
That was kind of the same mentality I was thinking, but it wasn't the diet, right? It was never about the diet. It was always about me.
Yeah, it's so true. And actually, it's interesting because I met you through Jermaine, who's was also on my guest on my show, and she was my money coach. And the same reason that you said yes to your coach is the same reason I said yes to Jermaine, because it was like the right time. Like I was so tired of telling myself the story of like, I can solve everything else. Yep. Everything else. I've got it all figured out. How come I can't solve this problem? And so, it's probably very similar. And that's, that's basically what you do is like, you work with women who are like me and can solve every other problem except for this one. What do you think is like the biggest lie that we have been told or that we tell ourselves when it comes to healthy eating, weight loss, dieting, all that stuff?
Yeah, it's three things that I have I mean, I've coached hundreds of women. So it's the three things that I see that women struggle with when they're not able to lose weight. The first one is that they tell themselves that they're not eating that much. Like, I'm barely eating. Really, I'm not eating this. But what they're doing is like they're picking the pizza crust off of their kid's plate. They're eating the last couple of fries on this plate. They're taking forkfuls while they're cooking the food and like doing extra tasting. I call it the bites, the licks, and the taste. So that's one thing that we tell ourselves, like we're not eating that much because our brain doesn't register those little bites and those licks and those tastes as like a meal. So it doesn't quote unquote count, but it's enough to keep you 10, 15, 30 pounds overweight easily. Yeah. The second thing is that they are emotionally eating, but they just tell themselves that something else, right? It's not, I'm not an emotional eater. Like, I never thought I was an emotional eater. I was like, I am not in the closet binging on Oreos. Like, that is not me. Yeah. I just like food. I like to treat myself. I like really good food. And so we have these stories that we tell ourselves about food that give us permission to eat more than what we need to eat. I call them sneaky self-sabotaging thoughts. And they're real easy. They're real like, girl, you had a hard week. Like, go on and, you don't have to cook today. Let's go out to eat. Call your girlfriends. Like, it's a perfect time to celebrate. Drinks for everybody. Like, we have these stories that we tell ourselves that give us permission to eat more than what we need to. And then the third thing is that our identity has not caught up yet. It hasn't been upgraded. And that's why I talk about this whole like identity-based weight loss, because we try to approach weight loss with the same thoughts and the same behaviors that we've always done. And nothing has changed. Like, we can use willpower to lose weight. We can do all the things in trying to lose weight. Like, we can restrict, we can do our meal prepping, we can start running, training for a marathon, we can go to cycle class. Like, we can do all those things and we're good for like 2 weeks. Or something happens and then you're like, oh my God, pass me the Doritos. And then everything falls apart. We're either all in or all out. And that's simply because we haven't upgraded our identity to think differently about circumstances. That's the third reason why women have trouble losing weight.
And I think it's very parallel. I work with a lot of high achieving real estate agents more specifically, but a lot of people in other industries as well. And the one thing I see all of them run into when it comes to their business is they haven't upgraded their identity to be the CEO. They're still in this like operator space. And they really haven't stepped up to like, what is a CEO doing? What are you like looking at themselves from a very different perspective? So I think there's a lot of parallels there.
100%. Because we all have labels, right? We all we're moms, we're daughters, we're bosses, we're spouses. Like, we all have these labels. But if we have a label that doesn't serve us anymore, then it's not helpful. Like, for me, when I became a full-time entrepreneur, I was totally brought my employee mindset into my business. And you cannot run a business. You cannot scale a business. You cannot, because you're going to burn yourself out working like an employee. And so I had to learn the hard way, where I did burn myself out. That's a whole nother story for a whole nother podcast. Yeah, that is the identity piece is key, because if you're still thinking like a dieter, you're not going to be a healthy person long term.
Yeah. So what do you say? Like, I mean, let's be real. It's the year 2025 and I can probably count on, I don't even have enough fingers or toes to count on how many people are, and this is not any judgment or anything. So anyone listening, I'm not judging. I'm just making an observation. There's a lot of people out there who are using, peptides, semaglutide, Ozempic, whatever, as well as things like, keto and paleo and carnivore diet. And there's just all these different methods of weight loss out there, and they all tout the reasons why they're going to be the long term. So, I'm just curious, like, what are your thoughts on all of that?
Oh, girl, I got a whole bunch of thoughts. Where do you want me to start? Okay. So here are my thoughts on the GLP-1. I feel like there's two camps of people, because I've talked to women on GLP-1. I've talked to women who are thinking about it. They're like GLP-1 curious. So there's some people who need something to get started, right? They need something to get over the hump. And I've been coaching for a long time. So before it was a GLP-1, it was weight loss surgery. It was bariatric surgery. I've had
That band.
Clients go through all of those different things. And sometimes people just need something to give them a little bit of success. And then they're like, oh, I want to be healthy. I want to live a healthy life. But the problem comes, the GLP-1 is great because it quiets the food noise. But when it's time to get off of it or titrate off of it, the food noise comes back real loud and they don't know what the hell to do. And they're like, oh my God, that old identity is still there. They're in a smaller body, but they have no idea how to like relate to food. They don't know how to de-stress without eating. Then they're like, oh my God, I got to get back on it. So I have clients who are on it because they're like, I need to figure this out, but I need to do it while I'm on the drug, while the food noise is quiet. And I'm like, okay, this is a great opportunity for you to like really upgrade your identity while you're not fighting the food. And so when you do titrate off of it, you have already created this identity so you can go on and live a healthier lifestyle. Then there's other people who are on it. I have one client who just signed up with me, a private client. She was on it. She was like, it didn't help at all. She's like, I didn't lose a pound because she was still eating.
Got it.
She was still eating. So she's, 100% emotional eater. And she was like, well, I think I need to figure out, I'd rather pay you this money for one-on-one coaching versus paying $1,000 a month for an injection.
Fair.
So that's my take on the GLP-1s. I don't shame anyone. I know how desperate I know the desperation, right? I feel like nothing is working. And now that we have pharmaceutical companies are marketing this solution to us like it's nothing, it seems like an easy thing to do, but you still need to do the work. Like it's not a solution. You still need to do the work.
I kind of look at it like, because I'm a former bodybuilding competitor. So, when you compete for shows, you're starving yourself. I mean, the last show I did, I basically ate 800 calories for like 4 weeks. So I was pretty much a skeleton with some muscle on it.
Did you win?
No, I didn't.
Oh man.
I got 5th place, but I did not win. But anyway, I kind of look at like what you just said. I can relate it to that. Whereas like when you're coming out of a competition, you're trying to go back to being normal size. There's a lot of like stuff that comes up. Like, did I practice how to eat? Again, no, because like I just, after I was starving myself basically for 4 weeks, I would just go be like, okay, here's my big burger, right? And just like start shoving my mouth with food that I couldn't eat for so long. And then on top of that, readjusting my mentality to be a normal size.
Yeah.
Versus being the fit size. So I think there's some relation there that is probably like, have you ever worked with women who have like been bodybuilders or competitors and trying to come back from that?
Not yet. Not that I know of. Not that I know of. But it is an adjustment because it's how you see yourself. Right. And we all have our weight identities is what I call it. It's created by society and our culture and how we grew up and what magazines we were reading and what's on the internet. Like all of those things play a part into how we feel about our bodies and how we feel about whatever size we're in.
Yeah. Do you think that there's any sort of, way of eating out there now other than eating a healthy, balanced diet that is more sustainable than others?
No. Here's why I say that. There's this thing called Bio-Individuality. Everyone's body is different. Everyone's body is going to react to food differently. You have to take into account your hormones, your age, what else is happening in your life, your environment, career, your family. Like there's so many things that play a part into what food does once it gets into your body, never mind what the hell you're thinking about it, right? So that's the other piece. That's the big umbrella. One person can do great on a plant-based diet. So I'm going to tell you this little story.
Okay.
I don't know if you remember this. Beyonce and Jay-Z were like plant-based vegans for like a period of time. And then Beyonce partnered with, I don't know, one of her people. It was like this plant-based meal delivery service. I'm like, well, if it's good enough for Beyonce, it's good enough for me.
Of course.
And I know all the benefits of like going plant-based. And there were like all these documentaries out about all the benefits of like eating plant-based food, primarily going vegan or vegetarian. Yeah, I think he was my husband at the time. I was like, we were dating or I forget, but we were together and he was doing it too. And he like lost all this weight and he looked amazing. Guess who gained weight?
You.
Me. I gained weight. And I also discovered that I had an allergy to like almonds, which was like causing me to be super bloated because I was using all this almond flour and we're cooking like all these like pizzas and all this stuff, trying to recreate sweet treats with almond flour. Anyway, my body like just rejected it. I was so bloated. People thought I was pregnant. Like it was just not good. So what works well for one person may not work for another person.
Yeah.
So to say that there's one primary way of eating that's going to be good for everyone is not true. Because somebody can be like, well, the Mediterranean diet is the best, but no, but somebody over here is allergic to fish. Like they can't eat fish. So that's not good for them. Mm-hmm. So what I teach my clients is we drop the rules of dieting, and it's so hard for them because we have so many rules that we're trying to follow. I got to eat this much protein. I got to eat this time of day. I got to like have this many carbohydrates. I got to like, I have to have this much fiber. And yeah, some of those rules are helpful, but what I'm teaching my clients is how to create their own standards. So understanding when your body is sending you a text message, like you need to listen to it.
Okay.
Like if you are tired in the afternoon after you're eating your sourdough and avocado and you think that's okay, but you still feel a little sluggish, well, your body's texting you. It's telling you something that's not going to work for you. It may work for Molly influencer on Instagram. That's what she had for breakfast. But you need to figure out what your body's telling you and make your adjustments from there. So I teach my clients how to create their own standards and forget the rules.
I love that. I love that. It actually reminds me right here. I have I don't know if I showed you this last time. So I have a food log.
No.
And I write what I do with it is I write what I ate and then how I feel. I just like to write down how I feel because, I'm 46 years old. There's a lot of like some perimenopause symptoms, hormonal symptoms, things happening, and food is different now. Like to your point, food is different at this period of my life than it was in my 30s or even in my earlier 40s. Like now food impacts me so differently. So I actually decided one day, I was like, I think food affects so many different things. And I'm like, I got to start writing down like how I'm feeling after this. So I actually realized, I felt really hungry after eating a breakfast one day. I was like, damn, I'm so hungry right now. And I had started to like put the cues together about what it was that's making me feel really hungry. So that was really helpful for me.
That's exactly what I teach my clients. It's like, we're just collecting data. And just because that one day you were really hungry after eating that specific food doesn't mean that you're always going to be hungry after you eat that, because you also have to take into account what your activity level is. I mean, if you're in the gym, like today was leg day for me. So I'm feeling a little bit more famished than normal. Like yesterday was a rest day for me. And I was like, I didn't really eat that much. So you just have to be able to pay attention. But the food log and the food journal, like that's just collecting data. So that's what my clients do. Like, what did you eat? What did you plan to eat? What did you actually eat? And how did you feel? Right. Yeah. So where were you on the satisfaction scale? What's your energy? What's your sleep? What are your cravings? And all of those things you also need to take into consideration. And then we just kind of we're like scientists. We're observing our own bodies and we're coming up with our own standards and our own like hypotheses. Like, oh, this is interesting. If I do X and Y, then I could get B. Yeah. And so that's how you build trust with food, and you're able to let go of all the rules about everybody says you should eat this and eat that.
Yeah. And I think, the phrase build trust with food goes right back to having a relationship with food. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, but, I think a lot of times it's hard for people to identify a relationship they may have with something that's not another human being. So I'm just curious what your thoughts are on that.
It's so funny. When I first heard that phrase of like building trust with food, I was like, what the hell is that? I was like, what do you mean building trust with food? Like, I just want to eat the food.
Yeah.
And this is, coming from a dieter's mindset where I'm just like, tell me what to eat, tell me how much to eat, and I'm going to do that. And just being like, no rules, no rule book, no playbook, no nothing. That is scary. And so that's what I tell my clients of like, you like the food rules because you like to be in control. You like to feel like you're in control because you feel like your weight is out of control. So the more that you grasp onto these rules, your brain is kind of like, okay, we're doing something. But really, you're doing yourself a disservice because you're overriding your body's natural signals. And so we're just moving from that to building trust with food. And that is being able to listen to your body's text messages, right? Open up, read the message. What is it saying to you? You build trust by listening. You build trust by collecting your data. You build trust by just checking in and being like, am I hungry? Like, is this physical hunger or is this emotional hunger?
Yeah.
Right? What do I need right now in this moment? So I have lots of different like tools and like things and activities that I teach my clients of how to release the food rules and move away from that and start to build the trust with the food.
Yeah, it's so hard, right? Because like, I work with a lot of people in my audience are like wearing a lot of hats. I mean, we both, I work with entrepreneurs, so it's like there's a lot of hats that they have to wear, and oftentimes it's I'm too busy to do this. I'm too busy to focus on this. So how do you coach your clients through that? You're not too busy. It's your health. It's important. How do you get them to where they really believe that they deserve really to improve their health?
Yeah. Well, you said it right there. They deserve to do this for themselves. I mean, I get the I'm too busy before they become the client, right? So this is, this is once they get to me, they're like, all right, just tell me what to do and they'll follow the process.
Yeah.
But the busyness, first of all, busy is an identity. Right? If you operate, if that's your go-to, like, oh, I'm so busy, then that is an identity that is not serving you because there are things that you are avoiding with this whole I'm so busy line, this whole I'm so busy story. Yeah. So it's a couple of different things. It depends. Like, are they moms? Like, are you too busy to take care of your kids? Well, the way that you're treating your body and your health is not taking care of your kids because they're watching you, right? They're watching what mom is doing. And if you're not taking time to create trust with food and change your identity, they're just going to adapt your same habits. And do you want that for them? So that's, one way that I always hit that I'm so busy objection. And you're always going to be busy. Hello. Like,
isn't that the point? I mean, isn't that the point that we want to be busy? So
especially as entrepreneurs, yeah.
I like to tell people, I'm like, okay, let's prioritize. Like all the different areas of your life, and there's usually one area that's going to be the biggest domino. I was talking to someone this morning, and he was telling me how we were at a conference more recently, and a bunch of us went to the gym together, and I did leg day, and he was like, I never do leg day, and you could tell he's like, big dude, up top, I never did leg day, and I'm like,
dirty legs.
Yeah, that's exactly. So he texted, he was like, hey, thanks for inspiring me to do leg day again. And anyway, I had told him, it looks like, you have to kind of think about like your legs are like the foundation, right? So you've got to have that one piece of your life that's the foundation. And I am a personal believer that the one piece of my life that is the foundation for everything else is my health and fitness. Yeah. I
would agree. Because without your health, you literally have nothing. And at this stage in the game, like in our 40s and 50s, I say I work with women in their grown woman era. Having your health is even more important because that stress that you're under is doing nothing but spiking your cortisol and keeping you overweight.
Yeah.
And you have to figure out changing a GLP-1, like changing what you're eating is not going to change the cortisol surging through your body.
It's just so much to unpack. I think there's just so many parallels between health and business and health and entrepreneurship. It's just kind of crazy. I want to hear about a story. Like, I know you've worked with over 100, 300, hundreds. You said hundreds of clients. Do you have one that kind of sticks out in your mind as being like, we get coached, when you're a coach, you get goosebumps when you see the results from one person. You're like, I always believe in them, but this one just is my person. I love this. Like, do you have any of those?
They all are. When they succeed, I'm a happy coach. Like, I literally recorded an Instagram story like 2 days ago this week because I had one of my clients in the group. She's just finishing her 6 months and she posted in the group that she lost her 25 pounds. She hit her goal weight. And that was so fun to see. Because I've been working with her. When I first started working with her, we had our first conversation. She was like, I am a sugar addict. She was like, I have done sugar detoxes, but I always end up going back to sugar. She's like, I don't know what it is. I was like, girl, that's your identity. I was like, we're going to let go of that identity of I'm addicted to sugar. So to see her finally reach the 25 pounds, and she said, because it's Halloween as we're recording this, she's like, I have not had a desire to eat one candy corn. Now, that's different from like, oh, I haven't eaten any candy corns because, she could be using willpower or just like, I'm not eating candy corn. She's like, I am not even tempted to eat a candy corn because she changed her identity. She changed her relationship with sugar. So that's like this week. Yeah.
I love that. It actually reminds me of donuts. I have that same feeling with donuts. And for me, I never thought about it as an identity thing. You can put a donut in front of me and I will not. I have no desire. It's like I'm not even tempted with donuts because I just, for me, I guess it's the identity around donuts that I just never, I don't know. I like.
Yeah. It's your belief about what donuts do for you or don't do for your body.
It's 100%. And that's what I tell people all the time. Like, for me, it's not even just a matter of like, yeah, it tastes good. I tasted them before. I mean, obviously I've eaten a donut before, but I've tasted them. But for me, it's more like the long term. I think about how I'm going to feel in an hour because I'm going to get a major sugar rush and then I'm going to crash. My head's going to hurt. I'm going to feel sluggish. My teeth are going to have a film on it. So
got to get to the dental here, right?
teeth are like feel gross. And I think I would imagine it's probably something like that.
Yeah. That's one of the questions I tell my clients when they're starting to like move away from food rules. I'm like, ask yourself the question, how do you want to feel in 90 minutes? How do you want to feel after eating this food, right? How do you want to feel at the end of the day? How do you want to feel tomorrow when you wake up? And plan your meals around how you want to feel. Now, listen, if you're on vacation and you're on the beach and you don't have anything to do and you want to have a margarita because all you got to do in an hour or 2 hours is like go take a nap on the beach, go for it. That's what you want to do. Go for it. But if you know you're going to be in back-to-back meetings, don't eat a bagel with like cream cheese and a sugary coffee beverage, knowing that you have to be on, for work, because it's going to give you an insulin spike and you're going to have a crash. Yeah. But they need to figure that out for themselves. And that's where all of this, like, how am I feeling when I'm eating comes into play.
Right. Well, that's where you come into play. Help them figure out where that feeling comes in. So
yeah,
I like that. Curious, what, like I said, my audience is high achieving, a lot of them are real estate. What if you were to give them a piece of advice on how to shift their identity, not just like, a lot of people they can go anywhere and find tips on eating and whatnot, but you're really working with the mindset behind it. If you could give a piece of advice or a tip on how to shift their identity to really move into this new space that they want to move into, what would that be?
Oh, you ask such good questions. I love it. The first thing I would say, the biggest thing I would say that would move the needle is if you understand your sneaky self-sabotaging pattern. So once you understand that, once you see what it is, then it's like, oh, you start to see how it shows up in everything that you do. So on my website, I have a quiz to, find your sneaky self-sabotaging pattern. It's like 5 questions and it will tell you what your pattern is. Most of my clients are usually the pattern is limited emotional processing skills, which means that they're emotionally illiterate, right? I'm happy, I'm sad, I'm mad, and that's about it. So they're using food a lot to deal with those emotions. So once you understand that, then it's like, oh, am I eating right now because I'm hungry? Like physically hungry? Or is this like an emotional hunger? So once you understand that pattern, so like my sneaky self-sabotaging pattern is called uprooting. And uprooting means you just jump from thing to thing. Like you always need a new dopamine hit. That's why for years, I was always going from diet to diet to diet to diet. I was always trying like, oh, this restaurant, oh, this food, oh, that looks good. Like always jump, never satisfied, never seeing anything through to the end. So when you understand that, what your sneaky self-sabotaging pattern is, then you can make a shift. So if you take the quiz, I give you like 4 or 5 different shifts that you can do in your life to address that particular pattern.
I love that. So jenniferdentbrown.com, and it's just right there.
Actually, send them to stopdietingforever.com. And it's at the top.
Okay, stopdietingforever.com. I think I'm going to take it anyway, just because I'm curious.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's so many different parallels to, like, we've talked about parallels between dieting and food and business and entrepreneurship. So I bet a lot of that. I wonder have you ever done this? Have you ever looked at like the habits that someone might have around their food and then found a parallel in their business and the way they operate their business?
Oh, Absolutely. Hello, me uprooting, right? I had a new business model like every 6 months.
You're saying that. I'm like, I feel like that's me. Shiny object
It's
syndrome.
totally me. I was like, oh, I need to do this. I need to have the membership. I need to have this. I need to like, yeah, that was totally me. And I saw it when I understood what the pattern was. I was like, ooh, this shows up in my money. It shows up in my food, and it shows up in my business.
Okay, I'm totally going to take that quiz.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, it's very much, yeah, it's like, it's all about like jump from one thing to the next to the next. So I'd just be curious what all the options are. Okay. So everyone go take that quiz and then send me your results, because I want to see it. I want to see it. I want to see the parallels between their food and their business. So
yeah, I'll give you the link and I'll put it, we can put it in the show notes.
Cool. We'll do that. Let me ask you one final question, because we're starting to run out of time. What do you think has been the biggest game-changing lesson that you've ever learned when it came to building your own business around this identity that you have for yourself?
Well, one for sure was that employee mindset and bringing that into a business. I think that was the biggest lesson for me, because I struggled. I struggled for that first couple of years. I was struggling. And even now, like, I'm learning to be a CEO, and I'm learning to look at this business as like a company. And so that's what I'm making that transition now. What was the question again?
That's what your biggest game-changing lesson in building your business around this identity.
Yeah. So that was probably the biggest one. But also in the struggle years, I was also starting to use food to cope. So I gained like 20 pounds when I was trying to leave the job and like trying to make the business work. And I was like trying to operate this side coaching business as like an employee. And I also had a very demanding job. And I was emotionally illiterate too at that point. I just didn't know, I didn't have awareness of all the emotions. And so all of a sudden the BLTs started to come in, the bites, the looks, and the taste. And next thing I know, I was like, well, damn, how did I just gain 20 pounds? I'm like, I'm a weight loss coach. So I had to hire a coach to help me unpack what was happening. And so that really, really helped. But, I like to say that we go through struggles in order to make us better. And so I went through that struggle, because now I'm like, I've learned so much more about myself that I can now pour into my clients and into my business.
I love that. I also love the bites,
bites, licks, and taste, the BLTs.
BLTs. All right. I like you guys. Little phrase for sneaky self-sabotage thoughts. The BLTs. I've got a lot of phrases from this one. So tell me who's your perfect client? Like, they could be in my audience. Who are they?
So mostly I work with high achieving women who have done everything well. They've got the job, the income, the family. They have done all the things, but they cannot figure out this weight thing. And I work mostly with women in their 40s. So now we've got the perimenopause coming in. And so now it's like the hormonal shifts are happening. And depending on where you are in the perimenopause to menopause transition, the estrogen decline also affects your stress levels and your mental. And so that's where the life coaching really comes in, and all the tools that I teach to kind of mitigate that intense feeling, because those mood swings, whoo, girl, they're rough. They are rough. And so if you don't understand what's happening, it can really, really take you out, and you can find yourself in a pint of Ben & Jerry's. So it's like all of the lifestyle things happening. I coach my private clients on like family, careers. A lot of my private clients are executives, like managing teams and international teams and bosses and company transitions. And so all of those things play a role into how you're eating and how you're sleeping. How is your energy, and how are you resting, or are you resting? And so that's what I really like to dig in deep with my private clients on that.
Love that. I love that. Okay. So anyone in my audience, females 40 and up, you are looking to master the health and weight loss side of your life, Jennifer is your person. She's the one to help.
I'm here for you. I am here for you.
She's got great energy too. So it always helps. I think it's really important as a coach. Like, you've got to have good energy. You feel very trustworthy. So
yeah, thank you. Thank you. I love what I do. I'm so passionate about what I do. And so thank you again for having me, because any chance I can get on a platform and talk about stop dieting forever, I'm like, I'm in.
Do it.
I'm
Talk
in.
about it all day, every day. I think it's amazing. And like I told you before, I want to make so much money that I can take down the entire diet industry. I would love to.
You and me both.
Let's
You and
do
me
it.
both.
Let's start a little team and let's just go after this and do this. Cause I'll be honest with you, like as a person who comes from a family who has struggled with weight loss their entire life. I mean, I have my own little demons and battles that I make with my own food. And so I think it's important that everyone realizes that, the diet culture doesn't have to be there.
It is not set up for us to win. I talk about the food companies, the drug companies, health insurance industry. Like these industries make money off of us being sick and overweight, unfortunately. And they make these lovely commercials on TV to make you think it's okay to have all these chronic issues.
Like all the side effects that you get, like all the side effects from like all the drugs
crazy
out there. It's like, okay, it's going to fix this problem, but it could give you these million.
My God, it's crazy. I used to be an advertising major in college. And so pharmaceutical companies were not allowed to do TV commercials. It was against the law, but they got those lobbyists into DC. And so now we have all this plethora of advertising that is brainwashing us to think that it's okay to be normal, to be sick and take medicine. So different conversation.
Different conversation. We could probably continue this conversation for a very long time. Jennifer, thank you so much for being here. You have been a great guest. Those of you who want to get a hold of her, go to your website, Instagram, everything. All
my podcast too. Yeah, I have a podcast, Stop Dieting Forever.
Okay. And we'll have all of the links in the notes in the description. And I look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Thanks, Jennifer.
Sounds lovely. Thank you.